we went in and we bought that. We asked them if that was a game that kids liked or whatever, and they said yes. And we bought those based on them saying that that's what kids liked. So why can't you play it? Just play it.
We cannot!
No,
How do you not get this?
I don't know.
We need a Nintendo Switch.
What's a Nintendo Switch?
I'm leaning towards let's do this.
Our dream of sailing as a family began over 10 years ago in a small town in the middle of the Texas countryside. In an effort to see our dream through in the most budget-friendly way we knew how, we decided to build our boat. Yes, most people wouldn't undertake this massive of a project, but we were stupid enough to try. Because building a 40-foot wooden catamaran isn't a big enough of a project, we decided to customize it as well. This personalization for our family added increased complexity and massive confusion, mostly on my part. It became very difficult for me to envision how our new home was going to be set up. Where's my bed going to be? How's the kitchen going to be set up? I couldn't grasp it. Shane had the arduous and difficult task of not only building our boat, but attempting to convey to all of us what our new home would look like. That's especially difficult to do when what you're looking at is upside down. Nine long years and 2 new children later, it was decided that we would cease physical production of our dream. It was a sad evening when we watched all that hard work simply roll away, attached to someone else's truck. Oh! But our dream, unlike that hull, was not broken. We would soon begin our search for a new boat. And before we knew it, we dropped the kids off with my parents over Thanksgiving and jetted off to Canada to feast our eyes on a possibility. The anticipation was high and got higher with each passing kilometer that we traveled. Finally, we arrived at the yard where the boat had been sitting for over 18 months, exposed to the weather and elements of Canada. And with that, the self-survey commenced. The hull and decks seemed strong and seaworthy, but would the interior have any surprises for us? Now was the time to see. Overall, what we saw in person very obviously did not match what was posted online. False advertising or negotiation points? Why do you think we should buy this boat?
everything is there.
5 months later, we began the difficult task, both physically and emotionally, of selling everything we owned. What are you doing, Barrett?
I'm looking for things to not sell.
You're looking for things to not sell? Day by day, our home became more empty, until finally we were left with nothing but what we had packed in suitcases or stored with family. We picked up the U-Haul and packed all of our belongings into it. It was quite an emotional roller coaster as we watched everything get loaded up. We said goodbye to dear friends, and then we were off to begin the next adventure of our lives. Day one was just like any other family road trip. It was fairly short and filled with excitement, only instead of heading south like usual, this time we were headed north to see Oklahoma. Once we arrived, it was time to have some fun and enjoy good food and family. Before we knew it, day one was in the books. Day two had us pointed in the direction of St. Louis. Lunchtime rolled around, so we stopped, ate a picnic lunch, and let the kids get some energy out before it was time to continue on.
Hide, she's here.
Well, are we going to play? Or are we going to hide in the shade?
Nothing till after July 4th. The clock's ticking.
The last one.
Naya taught Bryn and Barrett how to weave bracelets to pass the time. The miles were slowly ticking by.
Part of the craft right there. Count. 1, 2, 3. Get out up here.
Day two was coming to a close, but before we got to rest, we gathered for a family dinner to celebrate the life of my grandfather, who had passed away just 5 days prior to our departure. The Mississippi River.
On this river before.
Day three was our longest day, as we traveled over 600 miles through 4 states before we ended up in Erie, Pennsylvania. The monotony of this road trip was finally setting in. Another picnic lunch, more trees along the roadway before another hotel room called our name. Time for some play! We visited Lake Erie and the surrounding area. We took a short drive from Erie and ended up at a friend's farm where we got to drive around in some UTVs. And I even got a chance to drive. Did that wear you out, Barrett? Day 5. The smiles are being forced, so are the jackets. As it gets colder, the further north we head. Another 500 miles and 3 more states. We're almost there. It's a while to get here. As we entered Maine, our last state before we reached the Canadian border, the excitement began to build in the truck again. Our excitement soon disappeared as we entered into a 24-hour living nightmare from hell.